Hey everyone, and welcome to YarnGasm. I'm Kristen, and this is episode 82. Welcome to the show. Apologies for no episode last week. I was on vacation with Dennis. We went to Cape Cod, but I'm back this week, and I have lots to talk to you guys about. So, yeah, let's get on with the show. By the way, first, I just want to say thank you to everybody who got in touch with me over the past couple of weeks, just letting me know how much they are enjoying the show. Sticking with the no antler mirror motif in the back. So I still really want to find something to kind of accentuate this wall as opposed to just having like grayness all around. I want to make it a little bit more exciting. Hopefully that'll be coming down the pike, but stay tuned. But yeah, lots to talk about, namely... This is the knitting bag that I took with me to Cape Cod. It's quite heavy. This is my loopy. This is my my loopy U bag that I got when I was inducted into the loopy groupie. Group, if you want to call it. I don't know what it is, but yes, I am officially a loopy groupie, which I feel incredibly honored. So if you guys are watching, yay! I took your bag with me on vacation, and it holds a lot. Yeah, so I will be getting to that in a little bit. But first, let's talk about what's off my needles. Okay, diving into this bag of tricks, if you will. Of course, I put them all the way at the bottom. I finished my River Cat socks, part 2. They are done. I am psyched. If you recall, I knit the first pair for my grandmother. They were in Blue Moon Fiber Arts Socks That Rock Lightweight in the Green That Sings colorway. Those took me forever to finish. I think it has something to do with me knitting for others. That usually, I don't know what it is, but usually if I'm not knitting for myself because I'm a selfish knitter, it's going to take a while to get whatever I'm knitting for you. I'm just putting it out there. But these, one sock I finished on the first trip to the Cape. It was easy breezy, easy peasy, what have you. And these I finished on this trip to the Cape, I think like towards the end. But if you recall last week, I was only up to here on the sock, and I didn't touch it until we were in the car going on our way to vacation. So in that time, I knit an entire, like, part of a leg and an entire foot. So I'm very proud of myself. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find my sock form so you can see. Where did it go? I can't find my sock form. It's around here somewhere. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, just to give you an idea of the texture, if you will, if you're just tuning in. By the way, if you are just tuning in and joining me, welcome. I hope you enjoy the show. Thanks. But yeah, here is what it looks like. It's lovely. I am smitten with this colorway. I'm very happy with it. Again, it's this yarn is Blue Moon Fiber Arts Socks That Rock Lightweight in their Baby Zombie colorway. And as you can see, it just has these, it does remind you of a baby zombie. It's got all these muted purples, light blues, and everything baby zombies are made of. Lovely, right? So yeah, this is one thing off the needles. Sadly, nothing else. Although I have been very productive. I'm amazed at how much knitting I was able to get done over there. So, yeah, pair of socks, ready for winter, fall. Yay. But yeah, let's move on to what's still on my needles. Still on the needles. First up, we have my Hanging Garden Stole. Also, another part 2. As you recall, I'm knitting this for the second time, and the first one I gave away to my grandmother, who steals all my knitting. But yeah, this one I cast on about a year ago. I think I did half of a pattern repeat, and then I just kind of let it sit and languish in my yarn fortress for who knows how long. But anyway, I was dying for some lace knitting, something a little bit more stimulating to my mind. And lo and behold, I thought, why don't I just bang this out? Because I really missed my first one. So it was the perfect opportunity. And look how much I got done. Is this not a lot? I mean, since the last episode, I think I was maybe up to here. Yeah, I got a lot of knitting done on this, guys. And again, I'm using beads. Yeah, knitting with beads. It's actually kind of it's very zen, and you can describe it as that. The yarn is Madeline Tosh. Mad Tosh Merino Light in their French. Oh no! I'm sorry. It is Mad Tosh, but their prairie line, which is a lace, a very fine lace, in their French gray colorway, which is usually almost always sold out every time I look for it. Which is a very lovely, deep gray, a purplish gray, and I'm just adding little beads inside the little diamond motif. And if you think this is long, it's going to stretch out when I block it. Look at that. It's already super long, and then it's going to be even wider. So I'm very happy with this project. And right now, I believe I'm on the 5th pattern repeat, and I think the pattern says to repeat the pattern 7 times. I still have a lot of yarn left over, a lot of yarn to plow through. So I may have maybe 9 or 10 pattern repeats in this, so it's going to be even longer and even wider than the last one. And I'm just using Knit Picks US 3s on these. Just a short. I think this is a 16-inch circular. So yeah, I think like if I had to do it, if I had my choice, I would use wooden needles on this project. I used wooden for the first one. That was the Woolen Rabbit in their Scottish Heather colorway. Wow, I remember that. I'm impressed with myself. But yeah, I used wooden circulars on those, and that went a lot better. I mean, these are fine. I can totally knit with these, but because they're metal, they're a little bit more slippery, whereas the wood provides a little bit more grip. So I just have to be careful that these don't come sliding off the needles. Not that they easily do, but I just have to be a little bit more careful the way I wrap it up and store it. So that's one thing still on the needles. Also still on the needles are my Felici rainbow socks. One is off the needle, as I showed you last time, which I love. How colorful is this? There's a jet flying by. I don't know if that's annoying, but anyway, I'm just going to keep talking. But anyway, these just make me super happy whenever I see them. But yeah, the Eye of Partridge heel flap. One thing, while these are making me happy, I'm not going to rip back or anything, but one thing that I've learned from the Eye of Partridge heel flap is that you have to be a little bit more careful when you're knitting. Oh, this side turned out okay, but like the gusset join or the heel flap join, this side for some reason, yeah, it's a little bit looser. Why it didn't dawn on me, I think I just really got lazy. It was late at night, we were watching TV, and I was like, you know what, I can live with that. I'm looking at them now, and I'm just like, why didn't you rip back? Why didn't you rip back, Kristen? But, you know, I think come colder weather, they're just going to do their job, and I'm going to be fine with them. I don't know. I'm not, you know, I'm not super anal about some things. Like, you know, if it's just a plain vanilla sock, it's going to go on my foot, in my boot or shoe, what have you. Only I will know it's there. You're not going to know it's there. I'll pull it out of my shoe and show everybody, look what I knit. And they're going to go, oh, that's cool. Hopefully. I hope. But they're not going to like eyeball it where it's like, oh, look at those gussets. Those are horrible. But anyway, that's one sock. And I still have the other sock on the needle. But I'm making progress. I took these to the beach with me. I took pretty much I took the hanging garden stole to the beach with me. I took the River Cat socks with me, and I took these to the beach with me. So each knitting project got beach time. I just wish I took more photos of my knitting at the beach, but I didn't. I don't know why. Usually I do, but I didn't this trip. Again, I messed up the gusset. Even worse on this one. I should just rip back. I'm at that point where I can easily do it. I should do it. I should rip back. Don't be lazy, Kristen. Don't be lazy. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud again, like I do. So yeah. And that, oh, sorry. Before I toss that aside, this yarn is Knit Picks Felici in their rainbow colorway, and it's fingering. It's sock. I believe it's like the same fiber that they use for their stroll line, except it's just very rainbowy and pretty and happy. So yeah, that's one project. Oh, I feel like I should mention this too, because but it's like I don't know if I'm actually. I mentioned last week that I have some. When you finish knitting a pair of socks, generally you have a significant amount of yarn left over, right? So I figured I'm going to try knitting a baby sock. Maybe I can whip out a pair for my boss who just had a baby, because I didn't follow through and knit something for him for his baby. He had a baby boy. So I decided to just try my hand at knitting baby socks. And I finished one. How adorable is that? I am, words cannot describe how adorable this thing is. Yeah, I have to knit another one. I tried the pattern that I followed. I think it was on I found it through Craftsy's blog, the craftsy.com. They have a blog, and I found the pattern through there, and it called for a short row heel. I don't know what it is. I couldn't for the life of me get the short row heel down. I ripped back, I don't know how many times, and finally I just said, fudge it. I'm just going to do a typical heel flap, and the way I normally do my heels. Traditional turn. But look how adorable that heel flap is. I'm smitten. I don't know. I just, this makes me go squee all over again. But yeah, I just have to knit one more. But I'm a little apprehensive about giving these to him because I guess it could pass as a boy sock. These are boy colors, right? I mean, so what? It's slightly purple. Not that it matters, you know, gender-wise, whatever, but, you know, I don't know him personally, so I don't know what he feels about it. I don't know. I might just use these as practice socks and turn these into little Christmas ornaments or something. I don't know. This is way too cute. I may just keep it for myself because I'm reduced to a puddle of mush just looking at it. I'm geeking out, guys. I'm sorry. Okay. Tiny booty. Maybe a Christmas ornament, and I'll knit him an actual pair of boy socks. Not that color matters. I don't know. I just want to play it safe, you know, because, yeah. Anyway. Okay, I have something else on the needles. My Vivian Cardigan. I did not bring this along with me on the trip. I did not. Because I knew for a fact we were just going to be on the beach. I wouldn't have had time. Maybe, I mean, I did have mornings. I mean, I woke up super early. Got, you know, at like, I think at 7 o'clock usually I got, Dennis slept until, I got up at 7, went down, had breakfast, watched some daytime TV, and I had all that until like 9 or 10 o'clock when Dennis woke up, and, you know, just knit my heart out. And you know, but other than that, I just didn't see the point in bringing along my Vivian cardigan because it's such a big project. And I didn't want to like take up any more space in the car, or, you know, I already had my bag full of knitting projects. So I left Vivian at home, but obviously I have not made any more progress on this at all. But it is progress from what I showed you like 2-3 weeks ago. So here's where I'm at. I'm getting there. So hopefully the goal is to get this done by Rhinebeck. Although there are so many other projects that I want to be working on right now, but the goal is to have this done by Rhinebeck. Enough said. So yeah. But yeah, daytime TV, as I was saying. Wow. I don't get to watch daytime TV. You know, I did not know what I was missing out on. Rachel Ray happens to be my favorite. I don't know what, but she has like the best tips, like recipes and organizing tips, and Dennis woke up and I was like just telling him all about the show that I just watched. I learned so much, and oh my gosh, I'll watch daytime TV, whatever. No, I can't do it. It's bad, because after about 3 hours, I'm just like, oh my god, my brain is like turning to jelly. Let's go out. Let's do something. But yeah, anyway, that Wendy Williams too, and that's a great show. But yeah, digressing. What do you call it? Excuse me, my throat's so groggy. I think that's pretty much it for what's on my needles. I'm just diving through here. Oh, for my hanging garden stole, as I mentioned, I picked up some better reinforced, what do you call it? A needle threader, which I've been using to bead. These are actually pretty good. I got these from the 99-cent store. Let me see if I can get this to focus. Come on, focus. There we go. So it's got a big red shaft right here, and then like a tiny little needle threader. There we go. So the metal threader part is pretty well stuck in there. It's not going to come out, but amazingly, a pack of 3 was only $1, 99 cents. I got it at the local 99-cent store. They actually have knitting needles there, which I'm very surprised to find. But yeah, good to know. But in the meantime, I think because I have nothing else on the needles, I'm just going to go straight into knitting acquisitions. I'm going to call this segment Stash Booty. You know, kind of like Pirates Booty, but Stash Booty. Anyway, so yeah, let's get on with it. So a few of you have contacted me on Ravelry or Twitter about, in response to me using this little gadget here, for knitting with beads. You know, like putting the beads on and threading them onto the yarn. Apparently there is a crochet method, which I have heard about, but for some reason I didn't have a crochet hook that worked at the time, so I just figured out how to use the needle threader. Well, while I was in Cape Cod, I visited Knitting Adventures in Knitting, their new location, and I picked up one of these, which I'll talk about that in a little bit. But anyway, I picked up, get that right, this boy crochet hook. Okay, this is incredibly fine. I'm blank. I threw out the package. I didn't even bother checking. Is that even going to focus? I don't know. But anyway, you get the idea. This is a size 14, 0.75 millimeter crochet hook. It is incredibly fine. I could easily poke myself with this, which I'll try not to do. But anyway, I asked the lovely lady at the shop, I'm like, can I use this to bead knitting? And she said, oh yes you can. And she actually showed me how to do it, you know, but not with this, but she described how to do it. I'm like, oh, that's easy. And I mentioned that, you know, somebody on Ravelry had sent me a link on how to do it. And I'm totally blanking on your name, but anyway, thank you. I had been meaning to check out the link, but I didn't get a chance yet. But I will. But you know, this may do, and I got it really quickly. And the only thing is that this is so fine that it almost did not hook the yarn, and you can obviously see that. But anyway, it did the trick. Although I did have to fall back on my my needle threader because that just made it a little bit more easy to do. Little more. Wow, my grammar is off today. More easy to do. But fret not, because I have a backup. I believe right now I actually have a crochet hook that I can use. I'm not sure if I ever showed this. I'm not sure if I ever showed this to you guys before. Maybe I talked about it when this was an audio podcast, but maybe about like 2-3 years ago, Dennis and I went to a flea market in Poughkeepsie, and I happened to stumble upon this one thing. This lovely tube right here just happened to be sitting in a crate. I look inside, and what do I see? Oh my gosh, knitting needles! Check that out. Yeah. But That's only the top of it. They're like little tiny needles, like DPNs, crochet hooks up the wazoo, like in here. So I believe these are all, I don't know. Guess how much I got this for? $3. I could not resist. I'm like, granted, they are straight knitting needles, but I'm actually just smitten with them because they have a history and they've been well loved, and I don't know, I'm just, look at that. This, my friends, is a size 18, US 18. I can only imagine what they've knit. But yeah, inside I believe there should be a crochet hook that will do the trick. Haha. Okay, I should probably do this later, but anyway. I think I found a winner. We found a winner. Okay. I apologize for the rustling, guys, but I'm just very excited right now. Sorry. I think this will do the trick. Let's see. This is a size... That's not going to focus. I'm not going to even bother. Size 5. I'm just going to set that aside and let you know how it goes. But anyway, yes. What else was I going to talk about? Dust. Okay, yes. Adventures in Knitting. They have a new location. If you are from Dennisport in Cape Cod, or you've been there, you probably are aware that Knitting and Adventure, I can never get that name right. Adventures in Knitting moved. They used to be located in Dennisport, and then they have a new location. I can't tell you where they are. I'll put it in the off my head, but I will put it in the show notes. Anyway, they have a new location. I kind of like it. It's a little bit more airy in there. You get a window, you know, it's a little bit more open, but I kind of miss the old location. I don't know. I feel like they had a bigger selection. They had more rooms you can peruse and stuff. It's okay. It really is. This one's a little bit more, maybe because it's a little bit more difficult for me to get to, but same people that work there, they're lovely, they were so nice. I got to chat with them about knitting. I didn't buy any yarn because, well, they have like, you know, your average stuff that's easy to find, if I can describe it as that. They have, you know, Regia, they have Plymouth, they have Lobster Pot, which is, oh my gosh. If you have not checked out Lobster Pot yarn, it's hand-dyed, 100% cashmere, it's lovely, it's, oh, too expensive, but it's lovely. I highly recommend you fondle it or something if you find it. Or just buy it, you know. Hey, why not? Treat yourself. But they, you know, they have your average, Cascade, your average stuff, you know, stuff that I can easily find anywhere. So I didn't buy any yarn, but I did purchase a book. Where'd it go? As you know, I'm into vintage, retro, what have you. So I found this book. Vintage Design Workshop, Knitting Techniques for Modern Style, and it is by Geraldine Warner. Yes. So do not be fooled, though. One of the complaints, when I actually looked it up on Amazon, one of the complaints was that someone purchased this thinking that there were retro patterns in here. There's not a single pattern to be knit in here. It is a how-to. If you're into collecting, or just, you know, you've seen a retro pattern that you've fallen in love with, or you're like, I have to knit that, but you've looked at the pattern and it's confusing, this is what this book is for. It breaks down vintage patterns, like what, you know, what things mean and how to basically adapt it to the way we read patterns today, which I think is amazing. I haven't really had a chance to dive into it, but I did read the introduction, and it gets into, let's see, because this book is great though. It has wonderful photos, illustrations. It gets into the history of knitting patterns and their evolution. So, like in the 1920s, they get into how, you know, why knitting patterns became popular and how they, you know, during wartime, how knitting patterns became even more popular, and the gauge was not even invented. I mean, it was there, but no one thought to note gauge, you know, like knit 3 rows and you'll have 4 inches or something. You know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, gauge apparently did not emerge until like the 40s and 50s. So patterns only came in like one size, which if you fell in love with a pattern and it only came in a size, what have you, and you were something bigger or smaller, you were out of luck. So if you happen to find one of those patterns today, like on Etsy, Etsy has, if you just search a vintage knitting pattern on Etsy, it's a whole, you can fall down that rabbit hole. I'm falling down that rabbit hole, as I'll talk about later. But it basically tells you how to take that pattern without gauge and adapt it, you know, like figure out how to knit it for yourself. So this is, I feel like this is going to be an excellent resource. I think I'll be talking about it more and more as I read into it. But yeah, it talks about lengthening a sleeve, like all these patterns. I'm just like, I want the pattern for that. Different cuffs, how you can adapt them. Sirdar, yeah. Right now I'm being horrible at showing these, but these are just really helpful notes. And she does, you know, she gives you little equations like at the side on, you know, how to adapt the pattern. It even goes up to the 80s. So I mean, like 1980s. You know, even though they're like, there are certain, unforgivable fashion crimes of the 80s. There are certain patterns that were okay, and the book even talks about that. Like, you know, hey, the 80s weren't that great. There were certain fashion crimes, whatever, but they pulled a lot from the 50s and the 60s, and, you know, adapted it somehow. I don't know, but yeah, it's just great. Like, I've just been reading through it, you know, flipping through, and from what I can tell, it's a great book. And they have great modern photography as well, showing you how an adapted pattern looks, and, you know, lovely models and stuff like that. You get lots of great ideas like that. I love that one. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. So I highly recommend it. Vintage Design Workshop. I'll put a link to it in the show notes, obviously. And another thing that I purchased from Adventures in Knitting, this is a pattern that I talked about, I believe. Sorry for the rustling. I know some of you don't like that. Another pattern that I mentioned, I believe, last year. I'm not sure if it was audio or video, but anyway. They had a mannequin with a shawl draped over it, and I fell in love with it. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is it? You know? And she called it Summer in Kansas. And I said, is it downloadable online? And she goes, it should be available online. Lo and behold, it was not available online. I had to wait a whole year. I mean, granted, I could have ordered it online, but I'm just like, it's all right. I don't want to wait. But then I keep thinking about this pattern, so I finally went back and I asked the lady. She's like, can I help you? And I said, do you still have this pattern called Summer in Kansas? And she goes, yes, we do. And I bought it. I've never actually purchased a single pattern like this before. Normally it's just all like Ravelry downloads and stuff like that. But it's a triangular shawl, very Shetland-esque. Let's see that. Oh, there you go. But yeah, it's just a lovely, lovely, ginormous triangular shawl pattern. And this part, I believe where's my finger? There you go. Okay, this part I believe you add on after, or, you know, hey, you knit separately. But in person, it was a beautiful pattern, and I could not resist getting it. And again, the pattern is called Summer in Kansas by Two Old Bags, Patterns for Hand Knitters. So, yeah, Two Old Bags. Let's see. Anyway, I love it. I got into a lovely conversation with her about what's on our Ravelry queue. Everyone there was very, very nice. I think one of the lady customers who was in there, she's like, I love seeing, you know, young people knitting and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, you would not believe. I actually got into like how I fell down the spinning rabbit hole, and their faces just went, oh my, you did fall down that hole very far. I'm like, yeah, I did. But anyway, if you're ever in Cape Cod, I highly recommend you seek that place out. They're great. If not, you know, for the yarn, they do have good yarn there, I have to say. But they do, and lovely samples. Do check it out. What else? I did go to, they have a new yarn shop. Ladybug Yarn Shop, I don't believe is there anymore. But there is a new yarn shop that opened up right across the street. I don't know if it's the same owners, but it's called the Yarn Hound. It's a lovely shop. I'll give it that. It's very lovely. It's quaint. It's small. But I was not impressed with their selection of yarns. Again, Cascade. They had a very small Malabrigo section. A lot of Cascade. Just, you know, nothing that blew me away, but they do have a lot of great notions. They had a lot of beautiful shawl pins, a lot of great accessories, and this part I loved. I should have taken a photo of it, but they kept their needles behind a glass door. Just, you know, a regular door with a glass thing. It was inside, but they had like lights casting down on it. It was very like, this is our needle storage. You can look, but you can't touch. You have to ask for permission. It was just kind of, you know, it was like, wow. Just staring at it. Like, I don't know. But, you know, I didn't buy anything. I'm sorry. I didn't buy anything. Because I don't need anything. I really don't. What else? Oh! I don't know if I showed this to you guys, but this is my night knitting tool. I got this at believe it or not, my last trip in Cape Cod, I got this at an Army Navy store, and it goes around your neck like this. It goes around your neck like this. It does that. So I can knit at night in the car. How geeky am I? But it works. It really does. And it's come in handy for other things too, like quilling at night. And if you're curious, it's made by Quaro. I don't know. But I'm sure you can find these in, you can probably go to Bed Bath & Beyond or any like dollar store, or, you know, utility store. They should have it. And the greatest thing is it like does that. Anyway. Fun stuff. Okay. I believe that is it. I have show notes here somewhere. What did I do with my show notes? I'm so organized. Okay. Oh, yes. Speaking of yarn acquisitions, I purchased yarn from the car last night on our way home. It just got too dark to knit, and I didn't feel like getting the light out or anything. So I was just sitting there on my iPhone, and I go onto Webs, and I don't know, do I have it here with me? No, it's not this one. Oh, here it is. There is a vintage pattern that I am absolutely smitten with that I must knit immediately. I just don't have the right yarn for it. Nothing from Yarn Fortress speaks to me, so I am just ordering more yarn. And I ordered more yarn from Webs, which is actually yarn.com. So I'll have that to show you in the episode next week. But in the meantime, this is the pattern. How awesome is that? It's gorgeous. See, it has like these Art Deco kind of sleeves and like this ribbing. It's just really pretty. And then there's like another pattern that I found last night that actually kickstarted me into buying more yarn. So I'll have that to show you next week. But yeah, if you're curious, it's Sirdar number 1475, Majestic 3-ply, blah, blah, blah. That must be the yarn that they used or the pattern called for. And it's a free download. So if you look it up on Ravelry, it's free. It's a free PDF, and it's gorgeous, and I want to knit this immediately. Yeah. So I think it calls for fingering weight, and I looked online. Several people have already knit it, and they came out gorgeous, so I'm totally sold on it. But yeah. So that's coming down the pike. Okay, that is, I feel like this is another long episode, but hey, it's been 2 weeks, so I'm a blabbermouth this week. In other news. Well, first of all, you're probably wondering, why the costume change, Kristen? Well, it is no longer Sunday. In fact, it is Monday evening. Yeah, I just got home from work and I now have time to finish this episode because yesterday it just didn't happen. So here I am. Yay. And in other news, not much to speak of, guys. Yes, we went to Cape Cod. We had a great time. We went kayaking. We did the beach. We ate lobster. We ate seafood. We went hiking, we did it all, and while I enjoy each trip going up there, I think after about 4 days, I think I was ready to go back to the city. Yeah, I know, don't get me wrong, I love Cape Cod, I love going out there, and we were gone a whole week, which should have been wonderful, which it was, but after about 4 days, I was just ready to go back, because I'm not a nature girl. I don't know if you can tell, I just... Anywhere where there's the elements like mosquitoes, spiders, bugs in general, I can't deal. I can't deal. After about 4 days, I was like, can we please just go home? But no, I didn't want to do that. So, we had the whole week. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna do the whole week, and we had a great time. But anyway, yeah, I'm complaining a little bit. Just a little bit, but I guess that quote holds true. You can take a girl out of the city, but you can't take the city out of the girl, and it goes the opposite way as well. But yes, it is true. We came back Sunday night, and I was totally fine with that, even though I knew I had to go to work today. That I was not so much looking forward to. But yeah, I like once you're back into circulation in the city, it felt great. It felt good. I won't lie. But yeah, we had all of Sunday to just chill, relax, because yes, it's a long drive, and I was just glad I had that day to just be in my own bubble, if you will. So, but yeah, other than that, there's no breaking news that you must know about. We saw some pretty bad movies. We did Redbox. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but in the States, I believe, I don't know if it's an East Coast thing, but at the grocery store where, we stocked up on stuff, they have like a movie rental. You can rent stuff for like $1.95, what have you. And what did we rent? We rented Spring Breakers and The Host. The Host now is another I believe a book by Stephanie Meyer who wrote Twilight Saga. So I was like, yes, we must rent it. Total cheese. If you're up for it, it wasn't a bad movie, but yes, it wasn't like you must rent it. It's like if you have nothing better to watch, it's okay. One of the guys from Pretty Little Liars is in it, so give it a go, I guess. It wasn't horrible, but yeah, again, total cheese. We also rented Spring Breakers, which is the guy, same director who did the movie Kids, which is a movie I've never seen, but apparently it's a cult film. He did Gummo. Anyway, another actor from Pretty Little Liars is in it. She plays, I forgot her name, but anyway, the blonde girl, she's in it. Just coincidence, I don't know. But it was another total cheese movie, and I did not realize till midway that James Franco was in it. He plays such a skis ball. But anyway, you will have a quote to lead. Like when you watch that movie, you won't be able to stop saying spring break forever. Yeah, it's really creepy. But anyway, again, if you have nothing better to watch, check out Spring Breakers and The Host. Yeah, I'm a little giddy tonight because it is Monday and I'm a little overtired and I have time to podcast. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys this week. As per usual, thank you so much for tuning in. Yes, I love hearing from you guys. Thank you so much for all your notes, be it Ravelry, Twitter, Instagram, email, whatever. I love hearing from you guys. It really makes my day, and I just love, yeah, I love hearing from you guys. So yes, please feel free to contact me either way. I'm Voolenvine on Ravelry, Twitter, Instagram, Gmail, what have you. All the information will follow this episode. So anyway, yes, show notes on the blog. Thank you for the iTunes reviews. They're great. Yay. So glad you're enjoying it. And yes, I'm babbling. So that said, I hope you all have a wonderful knitty week ahead of you, and I will see you next time. Happy knitting. Bye.